Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So welcome to the next session of intensive listening course. So today is the 7th session. Okay, so here I'm going to talk about the function of utterances based on situation, participants, and goals. And also in this session, I'm going to highlight a little bit about listening for lectures. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, when we talk about situation, there are types of situations. First, formal or non-formal, monologue or dialogue. For example, in academic settings, so we can find lecturing, discussion, and presentation. What about in daily life? In daily life, so we will have some kind of conversation or dialogues at stores, at home, or even at the restaurant. Okay, the next is the participants. So who are they? So the relationship among participants could be student teachers, classmates, child parent, customer, with sellers, and so on and so forth. Okay, what are the goals? The goals mean here are for what the speakers communicate. For example, the goals of buying grocery, the goals of borrowing books, the goals of giving advice, or even explaining particular issues in the classroom. So here, when we listen to people's talk or the conversation during the listening activity, so we have to be able to understand what are the goals of the conversation. Okay, well, talking about the listening for lectures, I have some materials from, okay, this one, listening for lectures. Okay, I get the materials from AC Guided Independent Learning. Okay, study skills. So here, what is the purpose of lecture? To explain important concepts, new ideas, relevant theories. So when you listen to the lectures, you will find some important concepts, or of course some relevant theories, well, new ideas. And I believe some of you probably you don't really understand about the concept or the theories during the lectures, but then it's kind of challenging for you to listen to some kind of different ideas and different perspectives. Okay, what's the difference between lectures and conversation? Well, in lectures, you are required to have a quite high level of subject knowledge. So this is quite important, right? So it requires a high level of subject knowledge, because actually when you don't know the topic or the issue, so you might don't know what the lecturers are talking at the time. There's some vocabulary study that actually you need to explore a lot about them, right? And then essentials to be able to identify what is relevant or not. Okay, what about the conversation? So only requires general knowledge. Okay, and also it's useful to be able to identify what is relevant or not, because in the conversations you don't have to know the exact theory. So it's more everyday talks. So the issue is general things. Okay, something like that. What are the consequences? The consequences are the listener in a lecture has to simultaneously process. So when you are listening to the lecture, so you have very complex ideas and theories in your mind. You have very complex language and jargon. You also have visual information. If it is visual, if there is a video about someone's lecturing, so you have to see the visual information. But then if you only listen to the lecture, so you have to gather quite complex ideas, try to memorize some important points that the lecturer actually highlight in the conversation. Okay, so if you already know about those things here, so it will, the result will be, understanding the concept. Okay, if we talk about, say it again. Okay, this one, I'm going to skip it. Okay, thinking about lectures. Are all lecturers the same? Well, the answer, of course, no. Lectures have style different between subject areas and between lecturers, or with the same lecturers from week to week. And lecturer may first compare two models or theories, take a problem, solution approach. Okay, he or she uses a question and answer style, compare and contrast information, or do something else again in the classroom. Okay, are all lecturers the same? Okay, familiarize yourself with the approach that your lecturers take. Actually, this is if you find, this is kind of a tip or a trick that you will understand easily if you if you have a lecture, if you have like some kind of course in the classroom, but then if you are listening to if you are listening to lecture, so make sure that you know exactly the topic, okay, the topic that the lecturer is talking about, and the issue, the problem, so you have to highlight them. And then if you have a chance to write or do a note-taking, so just do the note-taking, because sometimes when you forget some important ideas, some important points, so if you take note, so it will be easier for you to to recall or to remember the previous talks. Well, I think that's all for my presentation about listening to lectures, formal informal dialogue. So we'll see you again next meeting. Okay, bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.